All right, guys, so here's a great example of a larger home. I wanted to throw this example in there because it is a larger home. We are here in Jacksonville, Florida. It's 7944 Volvo Street. We got 4 beds, 3 baths, 1988 square feet. So let's start the process. We scroll down to the map. We expand this map. First thing I see is there's our subject property, right? Then look what's around it. What does that look like to you? Let's map the nearby homes for sale. One thing about these, when you see streets that are named like after cars, you can usually tell where the subdivision is. Even from this picture, you can tell where the subdivision is, right? Everything's symmetrical. It looks like this is cut out. Look at the houses. Just looks like a subdivision, right? Then you have Volvo. You have Jaguar, you have Porsche, you have Fiat, you have Rover, you have a bunch of car names. So usually, like when these developers develop a subdivision, they'll keep similar names of the streets. So that's a good indicator of where that subdivision is. So I zoomed out once, right? And you can see, again, kind of based off the names themselves, where that subdivision is. That subdivision is right here. There's Dart. That's the type of car, right? So Dart right here. There's our subdivision, right? So we've located the area that we want to focus on. We're going to draw around the subdivision. Like always, we're just going through our normal cycle right now. Draw around that subdivision. And we're going to start the filters. Go over here, sold. Then we have house. And then we have last 3 months. We're going to go last 6 months. Sorry. And built before 1990. All right, let's see what we got. We'll see what we got here. Okay, so we go to the right-hand side. Table's already selected. What do? We sort these by price per square foot. That's what we're measuring, right? The lowest ones you already see, and they have pictures here, which is great. You already see these sold as is. These sold for the lowest price per square feet. As we climb, these should be more renovated. This is the last one, right? So we assume that this is renovated. Let's click on it. Boom. Automatically, we see that's a renovated home. We see this, the next one. What is that? It's sold for the same square footage, price per square foot. So I'm assuming this is renovated. Boom. There you go. Inside's renovated. So we know, okay, our price per square foot is going to be around this area. So common sense, or what we've learned so far, is okay, we found the price per square foot of the highest renovated house in that area. What's the issue here? The issue is this house is only 1,500 square feet. Our subject home is 1,900 square feet, 1988. So those are not comps, right? Those are not comps. So now we have to figure out, okay, how do we find a comp for that very large house? I can't comp this at 177. Let's do the math. I'll pull out my calculator. We do 177, which is the highest price per square foot sold in that subdivision, multiplied by our subject home's square footage, 1988. That gives us 351,000. As far as our ARV, 351,000. Now, you may say, okay, why doesn't that work? It doesn't work because every subdivision has a cap. It's a cap on the price that those houses will sell for, right? So if everything's selling for around 250, 275, you won't have that one, outlier that's going to sell for 350, 400,000. That's not how subdivisions work. You have to have some type of cap or threshold on that subdivision, right? So what do we do now is the question. Now, what I would do, the first thing I would do, I would go back to my filters And I would go back, instead of last 6 months, I would go back now to the last year. Let's go back a year, last 12 months. See if we can get more data, right? More data, more comps for that big home. So now that gives us 17 homes to work with instead of 7. Let's see what that does. Okay. We scroll down. And just another tip, when you see a house, let's click on this house. We clicked on it and a no picture pops up. That just means that this house didn't sell on the MLS. It sold off market. So if there's no information, no picture whatsoever, it wasn't listed. Just a tip there. So we'll scroll down and see what data it has given us. So I'm looking at square footage. I don't see anything that's comparable to our subject property. Anything. Highest right now, 1,700 square feet. That's the highest. Right? So we still don't have a good comp. What's the next thing you would do? The last thing I would do is I would remove this outline. I go over here to remove out. First, I'm going to go back to, I want to go back to last 6 months because last year we only did that for the subdivision. Now we have to actually analyze the area. So go back to last 6 months. We'll see those results. And then we'll remove the outline because now I just want to analyze the whole area. I want to see if there's anything on this side of this major road, if there's anything that is comparable to our house. Anything that is that large of 1988 square feet. Here's something. Let's see what this is. Boom. There you go. There's a great comp, right? So now, and I'll tell you why I like this example. Because now you see that house is renovated. It's a large house. It's renovated, but it only sold for 157 a square feet. Why didn't it sell for 200, 179, 177, 170? Why is it not up here? Why didn't it sell for that price per square feet? Because there's a cap in every neighborhood that you have to abide by. Right? Like we just said, if everything is selling for 275, 280, 290, you're not going to go and put out an ARV for 350, 370, 390 because you've hit that cap in that neighborhood. And this example explains it perfectly. So here we are. We have a 2.5, 1899 square foot home that sold for 157 a square feet. Our subject is 4.3, 1988. So now I know I can use this price per square foot to comp my subject property. So now I have 157 times 1988, which is our subject. And now that gives us 312,000. And that's a better way to comp a very large home. I hope that makes sense, guys. I'll try to mix in some different type of homes. The next one will be different as well. I'll see you in the next chapter.